Okay, so today I want to ask the question, can we emotionally disconnect from the narcissist, from our narcissistic abuser? Because the emotions are the biggest way that they manipulate us and cause misery and destruction and chaos in our lives. So is there a way that we can detach from being emotionally affected by these people? And I absolutely know there is, and I'm currently experiencing it. And I have to credit the work my wife and I have done with the monster method. It's specifically designed to protect you emotionally if you have to interact with a narcissist. So there's really two scenarios when you're dealing with these people. It's either no contact and you're not dealing with them and you're able to kind of heal emotionally at your own rate, and you're just taking your time and your time is your own, and that's great. No contact is awesome, and it's the way to go. But if you're like me and you're in close proximity to the narcissist, I share a property with my parents. My mom's the narc. And, so we have to deal with her on a regular basis. And I certainly want to avoid having it completely ruin my day, my week, or my life. And I'm sure you do too. So, we've developed this method called the monster method. And I've talked about it in other videos. If you're interested, go back and watch. And I'm going to document more, and I'm going to put it into writing. So that's coming up. But I want to share with you the recent scenario that we were just in yesterday. So I'm documenting all this in real time. All this narcissistic abuse, narcissistic behavior, scapegoat rising, all of this I'm documenting in real time. So this just happened yesterday. So we attended a golden child worship ceremony. And if you don't know what that is, the golden child is like the prize individual in the narcissistic family environment. The golden child in my family is my brother. A golden child worship ceremony in my family is my brother's birthday. So what was unique about this birthday is he's turning 40. So this is a big birthday for him. And it's a big thing for the narcissist. Any opportunity to parade the golden child, they're going to take it. So it's the golden child worship ceremony. And of course, in my narcissistic family environment, we weren't invited because the latest dramatic situation the narcissist has worked up is that I hate everybody and my brother is scared of me. And this is all because I chose to shed the light on the narcissist, and I said the terrible behavior has to stop, and it all has to be mutual respect or there's no relationship. Of course, narcissists can't have that. So the narc freaked out and triangulated everyone against me. So in my family, these are the players and the people. You have the narcissist, that's my mother. The enabler, that's my dad. Golden child, that's my brother. Me, I'm the scapegoat. My wife, she is a seer, which is amazing. If you meet a seer, become friends with them or marry them because they will change your life. They're amazing. And then we have two kids. One is 6 and one is 2. And really, in that dynamic, the children just become a form of supply for the narc, and we really limit exposure. Anyway, golden child worship ceremony is coming up. Of course, the narcissist doesn't invite us. No one invites us because it's all content and supply if this dramatic situation occurs where it was your brother's birthday and you didn't even come over and you didn't get him a gift and it was his 40th birthday and you're so terrible because you didn't acknowledge him and you're not part of this family because you don't come to gatherings. That's the story that's being created. That's totally bullshit. And the whole thing about when people are going to have a gathering or event at their house, whoever's hosting invites people to come. That's what normal people do. You're having an event at your house, you invite people to come. You don't just expect people to know what time to show up and know when and what's going on. So, of course, we were not invited. So what did I do? I did what a normal person would do, and I reached out and I communicated, say, hey, listen, when is the birthday party? Okay, it's on this day. What time is the birthday party? Okay, what are you doing for food? And of course, they didn't even know. So I set the time. They knew the day. So I said, all right, I'm going to go get pizza. So I went and got pizza. And I got my brother a gift. And I said, hey, I'm coming over with the wife and kids. And, we'll do the birthday thing. And, from a scapegoat who's experienced 40 years of narcissistic abuse, walking into one of these cringy family gatherings is like a recipe for disaster. But I have been diligent within the last year. So I only figured out this whole narcissist thing 4 years ago. And for 3 of those 4 years, it's been a roller coaster with the narc mom, because I had no mechanisms and skills, and I had no awareness in place to understand, number one, the behavior and the tricks and the patterns. And that's the big thing about my monster method, is awareness and truth and observation. And once you become familiar with this stuff and you kind of act from this observation point, and you start to notice the patterns, that's their big weak points, or their patterns. You then can see through the behavior, and it doesn't affect you emotionally so much. But it just takes time and practice. And so all of these interactions with the NARS, now, before, like, I averted any interaction with the NARS because it was an emotionally triggering interaction. And I don't want to be triggered. I just want to be in a good mood and go about my day. But now, and really this YouTube channel has helped too, because now it's all information and I can share, and like I have this great understanding, and I can observe. And so we went into this Golden Child worship ceremony fully prepared for what the narc would do. And of course, a big part of the monster method is understanding the type of narc you're dealing with. So I'm dealing with an older narcissist that's in collapse. So everything they do is all about getting supply. And when these people get in collapse, that's when they start going crazy, because all they want is energy and supply. And if they're not getting it out in public, with like friends and social circles, and they're just stuck at home all day, which this one is just stuck at home all day. She's home all fucking day. The only supply is from the people around her. And the trick is, you do not want to get caught up in that cycle of extracting energy in a form of supply for these people. So we went into this situation fully prepared. One nice thing about having a 2-year-old is there's no time to sit around and talk, really, because that kid is all over the place and pretty much raging. So majority of the time spent, it was my wife and I just like, watching the kid and following the kid around. And I could tell, so we first showed up, the narc was like on her best behavior, for sure. Very polite, trying to like be real nice. The golden child, my brother, he was just kind of like blah, whatever. My enabler dad, he was kind of just checked out. He was like tired and kind of spaced out. Low energy. That's the general vibe with my family. They're very low energy. The narc has a lot of energy, and I have a lot of energy. But anyway, I could tell they were on their best behavior to like make me and my family feel comfortable. And it was pretty much the thing with the family events with my family is they only last about a half hour because they're low energy, everyone gets tired. And what ends up happening is the narc dominates all conversation, and all attention gets spent on her, and so it wears everyone out. And we made it about 3/4 of the way through the gathering, and the gathering is pretty much just eating pizza and just making small talk. And then the narc was she was like distracted by the kids and the baby. The baby's really cute, and so the narc is just like kind of distracted. Oh, and my seer wife makes the narc super uncomfortable. The narc hates my wife. My wife has called her out numerous times for being a psycho. And the narc is like scared of her, for sure. She hates my wife. So anytime my wife is around, the narc gets really uneasy. But a few things that stood out, and I'll share these with you. So the first thing was my dad is retiring for the second time. He tried it once. It drove him crazy being at home with the nurse because she is insane. He went back to work. But, like, he's in his 70s, man, and it's like a desk job. It just drives him crazy. It's not fun. So he's retiring again. And he's really on the thing of, like, he wants to, like, stay physical and active and be motivated. And, you know, he doesn't want to just, because he gained a bunch of weight sitting at the desk. And anyway, so my wife and I are highly encouraging him to go to the gym. We belong to this gym, and it's all boomers, man. Like, it's 90% boomers that go there. It's like the most expensive, kind of nicest gym in our area. The reason we go there is because they have childcare for like $30 a month, which is amazing. So you can exercise, and this great lady watches the kids, and it's a really good deal. So we're telling my dad, and so it's me, my dad, the nurse, my brother, my wife, the kids, and we're like really telling my dad about the gym. It's a really good opportunity to stay fit. You can socialize, you can meet a ton of people. You know, it's positive. Of course, the nurse is like chiming in, and it's like, oh, that sounds great. Oh, that's fun. Like, totally shooting it down in this like sarcastic way of like she's sounding supportive, but the way she's coming across is like fuck that. Like, why would you do that? And my dad is sitting there and he's like, oh yeah, and it's just like blank. It's just going right through him. And I realized that situation between my mom and dad is the nurse has completely alienated and isolated my dad from the public. He has like no friends. All he does is like he goes to work, he comes home, that's it. Weekends he stays home. He's just fully attached to her. And if he started to socialize and go to a gym and exercise and start feeling better and connecting with people, that's like a huge red flag for the nurse, because especially these older boomer nurses, you know, they alienate the enabler, because the enabler is really the one that's protecting their delusional kingdom. And so anything that threatens it has to be shut down. Like, that's a direct threat to the delusional world that this person has created. So I'm sitting there and like I'm realizing that as she's sarcastically shooting this whole, you know, thing down of like, let's join the gym. I even told him, you can join on my membership and it's like super cheap, man. Great example though about how alienation, isolation, and, you know, ultimately how the narcissist is controlling the enabler. So whether he's going to join the gym or not, I don't know, but it's very interesting observing the narcissist's reaction to that. Okay, the other interesting thing is, so it's kind of winding down, and my wife has the kids in the yard and they're playing, and so what ends up happening is it's me, my dad, my brother, and the narc, and the narc just goes into this complete domination of all conversation, and she goes into the story that it's like her mantra. So her mantra is she's a victim, everyone screws her over, and nothing is fair. And so, of course, she just goes into this whole rant. And this isn't a conversation. This is her talking at us. And I made the mistake of looking at her, so she's just like talking at me, and she's just unloading all this crap about how she has all this anxiety and she can't sleep and she's on all these medications and the doctor told her this and they screwed up her blood work and she drove to the hospital and everything's wrong and everyone's screwing her around and it's a big waste of time, and you know, it's just reiterating the fact of she's a victim, everyone's out to get her, and she has all these problems, and it's just like a pity party. And I'm sitting there and I'm realizing, like, crap, man. And like, I made eye contact with her, so she's like talking to me. And I look over at my brother. He's just looking down at the table, not even paying attention. I look at my dad, exact same thing. And then my dad tries to chime in to like add to the conversation, and he can't even finish a sentence, man, before she just cuts him right off. Like, he goes, and then she just talks right over him, keeps yammering on and on, without any regard. The fact that she just cut him off. This happened multiple times, so he just gave up. He's just looking down. at the table, kind of just sitting there, and she's just yammering on, and no one's listening to her. And I'm realizing, like, the golden child is miserable. He doesn't want to listen to this bullshit. And the enabler is miserable too. He doesn't want to listen to this bullshit. And I'm sitting there, so I just turn my head down, and she just starts talking. She keeps talking. No one's listening to her. And it's amazing of, like, the lack of awareness. And what's amazing too is I was in that moment, I was sitting there, you know, reflecting as I'm observing this, and I'm like, she's making everyone miserable, talking over everyone. This is just, there's no dialogue, there's no exchange here. No one's enjoying this. And yet, she runs game on these people all day long, and no one has stood up for her. I'm the only one that has called her out. And it's cost me. You know, it's been a lot of turmoil, but it was worth it. But I realized, man, if I could get the golden child and the enabler to, like, tell her no, the quality of life would improve greatly. Now, the likelihood of that happening, I think, is extremely low, because, you know, I've tried to have conversations with them and it just does not work. But the whole overarching theme of this video is the fact of, rather than me being, you know, at this gathering, the Golden Child worship ceremony, and it being a huge emotional energy drain, something that would really affect me, it wasn't. It was like, I was like Grey Rock Ninja monster method, man. You know, I was sitting there and I was just gathering data, because, like, I wanted to share the story with you, and document this, and also see, like, is it possible to emotionally disconnect from these people? And I absolutely think it is. And it's, you know, it's a simple system. It's a simple step-by-step process that changes your mindset, that changes your viewpoint, and it gives you, you know, it gives you the tools, and it gives you the knowledge, and it empowers you, and it protects you emotionally. And so this is absolutely working, and it's amazing, because a lot of us who have older NARS parents, I mean, I'm going to have to be dealing with this for the next, you know, shit, man, I don't know, at least 15 years, maybe 20 years. So, you know, if there's something that's going to protect me and my family for the long haul, and if it's a skill that I can practice and get better at over time, I'm all for it. So, you know, and then leaving the gathering, everyone just kind of, like, dipped out of there, man. Like, my dad just was like, I gotta go, and he, like, went into his room and started watching TV. The golden child was like, I gotta go to Costco and get gas, and he just, like, dipped real quick, and then the wife and kids and I just left too. And, you know, it was like the NARS controlled that whole situation, and I was fine giving her that control. I was only there as an observer and to gather information, and it was amazing to be in that point of view, because otherwise, if I would have been emotionally invested in that family gathering, it would have been the complete opposite. It would have been a complete energy drain. They would have extracted tons of supply from me, and it would have been a bunch of, like, subtle put-downs that would have left me feeling empty and defeated and ultimately miserable. And then I probably would have, like, been agitated at my wife and the kids, and that negative energy would have trickled into my family. And it completely didn't. It was the complete opposite. We got back home, and we just chilled out, man. And it was really cool. So it is possible to emotionally disconnect from these people. I think it's just a skill that we need to know how to use and what it is, and then we just need to practice. And that's exactly what I'm doing. So I highly encourage you to consider that the prospect of, if you're having to deal with these people, you know, as our boomer parents retire and they get older, and, you know, we're within their proximity, we need these safeguards and mechanisms in place. So I will continue on with my research and the development of the monster method. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I appreciate your time. Have a good day.